want to talk to everyone on a bit of a real level right now, because I feel like based on how this season has been turning out, I feel like it's forced me to re-examine and kind of reconsider my expectations for the season. And I say this because obviously with Chelsea Football Club, we demand wins, we want to see wins, we expect nothing less but wins, because if you don't maintain your standards up here, then you're basically nothing and you're frauds. I get all that stuff, but at the same time, when you examine reality, does it really help me to kind of preempt my criticisms, my grief, my anger, knowing the fact that realistically, we're not going to win every single game in 2024. We're still going to lose some games. The season's preparations haven't been ideal, and I think we can all kind of agree upon the fact that there's been collective failures across the board that have kind of led to how this season's turned out. I mean, that's how I see things. If you guys disagree, I definitely want to read your comments, so make sure you guys share how you're feeling about things right now. But for myself, I just don't see the utility in being negative, being critical, when my expectations are, we still aren't a perfect team. There's still going to be hardships around the corner. And I feel like I have to take the small positives for what they are and try and see how they could fit in a grander scheme and in the bigger picture, right? So I kind of feel like I'm re-examining how I'm viewing this season, what I'm looking at, deconstructing like my original thoughts and opinions, and I'm looking at our next few games, looking at the fixture list. Obviously, Luton tomorrow, Preston in the FA Cup, 2 games against Middlesbrough, a London derby against Fulham, and then after that, a game against Liverpool. And I kind of feel like if you're a team that has had many an injury happening to key players, these next run of games, they're potentially winnable games, and they present a great opportunity for us to build upon some of the things that Pochettino hasn't been able to consistently do due to so many injuries happening across the team. Nkunku's back. Hopefully Lavia's back soon as well too. We saw positive signs of this new look fluid attack against Crystal Palace when we beat them. And with this next run of games, this presents an opportunity for a lot of these guys to kind of ease themselves back into life at this football club. It's a whole host of different opposition, right? You're playing against Luton Town and they have their 12th man and their fans. It'll be a difficult game tomorrow. Of course, knockout round games, against championship opposition where, can we build upon our attacking football, build and improve upon the connections on the field? A London derby, which presents like a bit of a higher test because it's like, okay, can we beat one of our rivals in the city? And after that, hopefully, if things go well, it culminates in a massive, big game against a top club in Liverpool, who are right at the top of the table. We played very well against them at the start of this season. And hopefully, if everything comes off in the next few games, if we win all our remaining fixtures before Liverpool, this could be the ultimate test to finally see, okay, are we now starting to see real signs of what Pochettino's Chelsea football team is really about? Now that's how I'm seeing things, but don't be fooled into thinking that Luton Town is not going to be a hard game tomorrow. Now, they've galvanised around the fact that their teammate and Tom Lockyer, of course, he suffered cardiac arrest against Bournemouth, and they're supporting him. They're behind their boy, and it's galvanised their team again, and they found new form. Their big game record is pretty mad. They've been very unlucky not to get deserved points in most of these games. They've taking their opponents right to the end. They have a very young fan base, and this young fan base knows how to make noise and bring atmosphere at Kenilworth Road. And obviously, they're also being inspired by former Chelsea player in Ross Barkley, who's showing some very good form in these past few games. And I have to say too, their manager in Rob Edwards is a very likeable person and a very likeable manager. So there's a very good feel-good vibe happening with Luton Town right now, and this makes them a dangerous opposition. And that's because they will play for the occasion tomorrow afternoon. Listen, we aren't that good where we become an exception when most other teams have also had to really fight to get points. So let's hope that we are ready to compete tomorrow against Luton Town. So my friends, in today's video, I'm here to break down team news, press conference key points, and my predicted lineups. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Hit that like button if you guys are feeling optimistic that we beat Luton tomorrow. But before we get into anything, Today's video is brought to you by Parimatch UK. How would you like the opportunity to win a £50 free bet? Well, this season Parimatch UK have launched their new, completely free-to-play football prediction game called Hat-Trick-On, which means that each week you will get the opportunity to predict 3 scores from the Premier League with 3 rewards for each correct prediction that you get correct. If you can get all 3 scores correct, you will be rewarded with a £50 free bet. It really is that simple. So as you guys are seeing on screen beside me, these are my score predictions. Now, maybe I'm feeling a bit more optimistic based on the recent win against Crystal Palace, but I've gone for a 2-0 win against Luton Town. I would not be surprised if we score last-minute goals. They're going to push us tomorrow. I'm expecting Aston Villa to narrowly beat Burnley 2-1. And for the final game, I'm expecting Man City to pretty much thrash Sheffield United. Or my friends, do you agree with my predictions? And if you would like to get involved yourself, please click on the link below. Obviously, you must be 18 plus to play and full terms and conditions apply. So my friends, thank you to Parimatch UK for sponsoring today's video and getting back into the preview. Let's discuss team news. Obviously, Lavia is still being assessed. Poch revealed that he has little fears and he's hoping that Lavia won't be out for a long time. Obviously, it is looking a bit optimistic that Lavia's thigh issue isn't that dangerous, so he might not be out for a while. He's feeling some discomfort. I'm sure there's a bit of rust because it's just like his first game in like God knows how many months. His body isn't fully like match fit right now, so hopefully he can get past these pains and be available in the next few games. So that's the latest around Lavia. Mudryk will be assessed as we get closer to the game, as he came off with a bit of a knock against Crystal Palace, but I think he should be playing against them tomorrow. Obviously, Robert Sanchez is returning as well, and it will be interesting to see whether Poch immediately puts Sanchez back into the first team, which, you know, most likely is going to be the case. But I do think with Petrovic standing out and stepping up and not being phased when he was introduced, he will make Pochettino think again, because now I think he's built a bit of trust with the manager. So that is the latest differences in terms of team news. Outside of that, it's the same old story with the same old players either recovering or continuing rehab programs. So team news is out the way. Let's talk press conference key points, and I'm going to focus on only one, and that was Pochettino respecting the threat of Luton Town. And I fully agree with this because, you know, Luton's form, as I said recently, has been on point. I mean, let's break down the results. You guys are seeing it on screen. You know, only losing 1-0 to Man United, like a 1-1 draw against Liverpool, losing 2-1 to Man City, losing to a 97th minute winner from Declan Rice against Arsenal. You know, they beat Newcastle, they beat Palace. I mean, for Luton Town to be getting these results, yeah, is telling you everything you need to know about how these guys have risen their game recently. And we are no exception. So I like that Pochettino is respecting them. As he said, you know, I'm a bit of an old man. You know, I'm still romantic for the game. You know, I love football of the past. And, you know, Kenilworth Road makes him remember of moments and occasions like that because the fans and players are united together. And listen, man, all these players are human beings. If you tap into that emotional factor, which if you do, that boosts confidence from everyone in that stadium. This is how you see a team play above their level. And I think we're seeing that with Luton Town. I think they are the prime example of this. So they have an old school spirit. They are going to put men inside the box. Obviously, their fans are going to be supporting from the first minute to the last minute. We must be ready to compete. We must be ready to play a game, but Luton Town will try and play their game and disrupt our game. They will be direct. They will be physical. They will play balls directly, quick in behind. This is how they play. So, you know, we must be ready for the game tomorrow. I'm a bit optimistic. And I guess right now is the perfect time to end the video by giving my predicted lineup against Luton Town. Right now we have players returning back after serving suspensions in Raheem Sterling and Cole Palmer. Of course, certain other players are touch and go for this game, but with the lineup I'm about to show you guys, I have 2 reasons behind picking this. Number 1, after seeing the positive signs with how our attack played against Crystal Palace. If you guys want to learn more about this in greater detail, watch yesterday's What We Learned video against Crystal Palace. I really break it down for you. And I kind of feel like now is the time to continue to build the chemistry with the attack. And that's important for me. For my second reason, We're playing against a 3-4-3 system. We're playing against a team that uses wingbacks. And most times, if you want to boost your chances of getting results against wingback systems, you must force back the opposition's wingbacks. You must force them deeper. If you do that, it means that you have the potential to overrun the opposition's midfield because, you know, there's too much spaces for them to cover. And this is how you can open them up between the lines. Obviously, it's easier said than done. But I think if you boost your chances of winning the wing battle, you may have a chance to get 3 points. So that's my reasonings. And as you guys are seeing on screen right now, my predicted lineup is Nicholas Jackson up front. In behind him, I've gone for Mudryk. I've gone for Nkunku and I've gone for Madueke. Behind, I've gone for Gallagher and Caicedo. And in defence, I've gone for Colwell. I've gone for Badia, Silva, Gusto and Petrovic in goal. Now, starting from back to front, obviously Petrovic will probably continue to play tomorrow. Will be a big test for him because they do have strikers that have aerial threat and they will put crosses inside the box. So I want to see Petrovic being strong, claiming crosses, you know, being a presence, physical presence aerially. I think that's going to be key against Luton Town. And in defence, I've gone for Gusto. I mean, wow, this guy, phenomenal game against Crystal Palace. I want to see Silva on the right-hand side because I've noticed this. When Silva is on the right-hand side, suddenly his passing range, his creativity, his playmaking comes out from nowhere. A lot of times you see Silva playing that long diagonal from deep over the top to the left-hand side of the field. He doesn't really do that from the left, so I'm hoping he gets to play in his better position because Pochettino relied upon his experience to help us beat Crystal Palace. That's why he was subbed on. Beside him, I've gone for Badia Show. Listen, a difficult game against Mateta, but again, he's a real handful. He really made life difficult for Man City. Badia is great potential, but he is not that good where guys like Mateta should be nothing to him. I'm sorry, he's still learning. He will get better from these experiences, but I want to see him there for his height and ball progression. And of course, beside him, I've gone for Levi Cole. Now in midfield, obviously, that will just be Conor Gallagher and Caicedo. I mean, the most well-balanced midfield. Gallagher has a license to get forward. Caicedo now is marshalling the centre spaces a lot better right now, and he's really playing with some tempo and really playing quick football. So it's a decent balance to have. And up front, as I said, man, listen, I need to see wingers playing out wide. I've gone for Madueke to start. He may not do that, but I think after securing the winner, after giving an impression to Pochettino, I think that's something you can't easily ignore. And I think he deserves the opportunity to start a game against Luton Town and show what he can bring. But he's direct. He knows where the goal is. He hasn't demonstrated that much for us, but he does know where it is based on his PSV career. And outside of that too, I think he's our best dribbler. You know, if we're going to be opening up space free on the right-hand side, I'd love to see a game of Madueke cutting in and Gusto overlapping. That could be quite dynamic. And obviously, I've gone for the trio that played very well together against Crystal Palace and Nkunku, Jackson and Mudryk. I think Nkunku's introduction to the team, finally, you know, we have an attacking mid that is really complementing our final third play. When you compare the positions that Nkunku picks up playing in that role compared to an Enzo Fernandez, it makes you realise that, listen, Enzo really just was not tailor-made for that role. Hence why attacks would break down. But Nkunku is forever close to the front three. And these little triangles we saw against Crystal Palace has given me hope for the future. Obviously, Mudryk is touch and go. But I wouldn't be surprised that he starts again because he had a great game against Crystal Palace. His pace in behind. The fact that he could play more infield. That he can make more diagonal runs in behind. Because he's getting supported by an Nkunku and Jackson. That was the key thing. And I think the glue that really complements this attacking three we're seeing right now is Nicholas Jackson. His positions against Crystal Palace, you really examine the details. A lot of times he was the guy that was dropping deeper, that was releasing Nkunku and Mudryk in behind. A lot of times when you play this like deep line forward role, you know, it does require you to have the technical capacity to drop deep because if you do that properly, you're creating space for your attacking teammates. And with someone like Nico who has potential, yeah, he's able to demonstrate this part of the game to a good level. It can improve, but he has the additional bonus of having that pace in behind to stretch back lines too. So he's given a bit of a multi-dimensional type of threat. And I think, listen, he was unlucky not to score against Crystal Palace. His performance deserved that. And if he did, I think his performance gets seen very differently. So this is the lineup I am going for against Luton Town. I'm hoping I see this. I want to see some consistency. Let's take advantage of the little small glimpses of form we're seeing in this team right now. So my friends, that's my video out the way. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave your predictions in the comment section, and thank you to everyone who showed so much love in yesterday's video. I got so many compliments. I was kind of humbled by that, and I'm glad you guys really connected and enjoyed the vids. So my friends, I am the EFC. This is BlueLionsTV. I will see you tomorrow with more videos and the post-match calling show. So if you want to talk football with me, see me tomorrow after the Luton game. Cool.